Greetings, my name is Father Kyle Rink, and welcome to Fridays with Father. I'm the priest, one of the priests at Parish Family 45, and I'm here to talk about just different stuff each month here. Well, today on First Friday, as we begin this Lenten season, this first week in March, I want to reflect on a Greek word I'm going to teach you. Repeat after me, okay? So the word is eremos. All right, repeat it. Great, okay. Eremos essentially means wilderness or desert. And so it's the word that's used in the New Testament quite a bit when it says things like, and Jesus went into the eremos. It went into the wilderness or the desert. And we translate it this way, and you know, I really understood it better when I actually got to go to the Holy Land myself. It was a real treat. My entire class in Mundelein Seminary got to go there to the Holy Land about 2 years ago, and we got to be part of the eremos. We got to be in the wilderness. And it was very enlightening to see kind of what this looks like. And if you've ever been to either California or maybe like the Eastern Washington slopes, those kind of, sort of dry hills with maybe a couple trees or a couple bigger, larger bushes, that's kind of the image of eremos, of this wilderness. Because in this Holy Land area, the wilderness of Judea was kind of this hilly area with lots of brush and some smaller trees. It's not a true desert in the sense that there's, cactuses, but it's definitely fairly dry. But the main essence of the word eremos is more than just being a dry place. It's a place that's uninhabited. There's no one else there. It's wilderness. There's no people. It's a very quiet place where one can go and collect their thoughts and kind of just be with themselves, really, and be with God. It's a place where there's nothing else that distracts you from God. And that's what that eremos, that desert or wilderness, is about. Jesus went into the wilderness, the desert, for 40 days, away from the people, away from anything else. And I think as we enter Lent, this 40-day season, that's what we're going to do. We're entering into this eremos. Well, what does that mean? Well, of course, we're going to be giving up certain things as the church commands us to do. We give up something, whether that's a food item or media or it's whatever else it is. You're giving up random things. I used to be pretty creative as a kid. Maybe that's also doing extra things. But the goal is that we enter into that eremos, enter into that place where we're not inundated by the world as much. We're trying to take just a little step back from all the noise and the hustle and bustle that gets us so kind of head down, looking at what we're doing, so that we can stand up and actually encounter the Lord. It's a space to encounter the Lord. Now, there's many elements, but especially this morning, I want to highlight the element of silence or solitude. Now, there's a difference between, we talked about this a lot in seminary, between loneliness and solitude, right? Both are essentially look the same. Both involve being by yourself, being quiet, being silent. But solitude essentially means that, yes, I'm being silent, I'm by myself, but I realize that God is with me. I realize that even by myself, I'm not alone, if that makes sense. Versus loneliness saying, wow, I wish there was something to kind of fill the space, right? If you've ever been on a silent retreat, maybe been silent for 2 or 3 days in a row, you know what that feels like, that sense of just, wow, there's nothing else around. I have nothing to distract me from myself. And so essentially the wilderness in that way, it's a place of solitude. It's a place where we can encounter ourselves, but not just by ourselves, but in the light of God, realizing that God's always with us. And I think when we can encounter ourselves in that space, we do tend to grow. We can look into our insides, into our interior life, and we can refine ourselves. It's a really privileged place, especially in this, like I said, in this world that is so noisy and so, we have so many demands on us. So my invitation for you this year, this Lent especially, is entering into that eremos, that desert, that wilderness, that place of silence, that place of solitude. Realizing that when I'm there, that God's also with me. And even when you're like Jesus and you feel like, man, all I ever see in this desert is Satan tempting, right? Jesus entered the wilderness for 40 days and was tempted by Satan. That was what he encountered. But Jesus never lost sight of who he was, the Son, the appointed Messiah of God. And while we're not Jesus, obviously, we can still realize that we are called to be sons and daughters of the Most High, that through our baptism we are. And that's a great identity. So I hope you enjoy your time in the eremos this Lent as we join the Lord Jesus and we join our brothers and sisters around the world, all those billions of Catholics around the world that are entering into this sacred season of Lent together. May God be with you, and God bless.